Well, when I meet the youngsters, they really like the geological part that is associated with the environment more than with the petroleum system. And I was reading the 2019 annual report of the AAPG, and I found out that AAPG has no an official position statement on the climate change. How do you explain that?
We do. We just put it out. So
When?
3 days ago.
Ah, okay. So
We
is that the same statement that was worked out by the ad hoc committee that
no,
proposed it? No, you change
no,
it?
no. What we
I-
did is
Is it
that
easy to find in the website?
if you look, I don't know where it's at in the website yet, but if you look into this month's Explore, there's an article that the statement is in there. And what we did, and here's the interesting part on the statement. We had a lot of members clamoring for a statement, and we went out and looked, and we had some of the corporate advisory board looking at a statement, and we went and took time and went and looked at all the statements by all the other groups that are similar to us. And we saw a wide variance. Now, when you start getting in the trade organizations where they have to cater to other companies doing business with them, some of those got a little bit more detailed and a little bit more in depth into what they were talking about. But what we found is that from a standpoint of doing it, yes, we believe in a lot of things going on, but there's science behind some of it and a lot of it. I mean, it's not some of it, all of it. And it's just how you have to look at the science. But yes, we posted that out there. It's just gone out, and it's in this month's Explore, and will be posted up on the website. And that's what our
So
members wanted.
in the annual report, I read this. I want to quote it so that you can help me understand which part has been changed. It says the AAPG recognizes the abundant and compelling evidence that human activities are a key factor in current climate change, as referenced in the collective authoritative statements of the Global National Academies of Science in the comprehensive analysis on climate science as presented by the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change.
Well, now, where you found that in our report?
Yes, it comes out from an ad hoc committee that proposed it.
Well, the problem is with that ad hoc committee was set up to go in and look at publishing articles on climate change and look at that. They did a statement, which they can do as a member, and we looked and vetted it. There's a lot of science behind it, and we have a lot of members. I was amazed the other day. I went and I was reading an article about the blue hole in the Caymans, and I forgot the guy's name, the Virgin owner, that airlines owner. He went down there with a little crew, and they went down there like 130 feet down. They found stalactites, and they were going, "Oh my God, there's stalactites down here." That only means one thing: that sea level has been lower at one point. Yes, it was. Sea level was 400 meters lower 17 to 20,000 years ago, and we have massive sea level rise from about 20,000 years ago to about 8,000 years ago. It was massive, and you saw it coming up. Man was not around at that time. So that was all a natural phenomenon. Now, I don't disagree that man has a part in CO2. When you look at it, yes, man has a part in a lot of different ways. Agriculture, concrete is one of the biggest things that puts CO2 in the atmosphere. When we build a building, build concrete, we've got a big influx from that. Man's very footprint is a problem because we put out CO2 just even when we breathe, and when we deforest, that's a problem. Agriculture is a problem. So yeah, to say that man doesn't have a footprint would be wrong. But how big is that footprint and what it amounts to? Because we know we've had events in the past where the ice sheets have retreated tremendously, have been retreating for the last 17,000 years. So I talked to some people in New York one time, and they were totally amazed that there was almost a kilometer of ice over New York about 20,000 years ago. You can see the striations from the glaciation in Central Park on the gneiss in the park. They didn't even know that. And so for 17,000 years, we've seen glaciers retreating, and that was all natural occurring stuff. But it would be hard pressed to say that man doesn't have a footprint when you look at all the different activities that man himself does. Not only the burning of hydrocarbons, but deforestation, agriculture, buildings, and just his very makeup does it.
Yes, we had guests related to the Great Blue Hole. You were mentioning Sir Richard Branson,
Yes.
and we had the scientific representatives of the scientific committee talking with mini geology as well. In specific, we have Andre Droxler from the Rice University. Uh, can you find and read us the statement that you have on climate change in the AAPG website?
Well, I will direct you to, you can go to the AAPG website to the Explorer and read it there because I don't have a copy right in front of me that I can read, but you can go there
Okay.
and read it yourself and be able to do that. People can do that or listening to the podcast can do it when we're done with this.
Yes. And this is in the last.
The May Explorer. May
May-
Explorer. And we actually ran, if you look back in the April Explorer, we ran an article in there. We ran a survey of our members to find out what their thoughts were. And we did that. And that's in the April Explorer.
Okay, so we should find May.
May.
Explorer.
It's
Yeah.
just coming out right now, and it should be up on the website, and will be a little preface to it, and then a preamble to it, and then the statement itself. But it should be coming up.
Okay. Well, don't worry, Mike, because we are not live. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for it. I'm here in explorer.aapg.org and feature articles, geoscience programs. Where is the register now?
Are you in the May or the April?
I open explorer.aapg.org. So I think it's the last one, right? The very.
If it's been posted up, they're posting it up as we speak. And I don't know if they've got it fully posted up. You'd have to just look at the date, whether it's April or May.
So yeah, is in May or in April? What?
May. It's May.
May. Yeah. So do you see the page explorer.aapg.org?
The laptop I'm at, I don't know if I can.
I'll just open another window. This is gonna stay on. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But we've got a statement coming out, and it can be read there. We have a lot of members that have a lot of different viewpoints on this, and as the officers of the organization, we're trying to take into account what they've got.
Do you see this one? Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the Explorer. This is important because we have a lot of members that are really interested in this. So I think that would be important that it's something so fresh and out there because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's out there. I think this may be last month's right here.
So where do I go now?
Well, they just hadn't got it up yet, so just kind of watching. It'll be up here in the next couple of days.
Oh, so it's not up yet.
Yeah. Well, I thought it might be, but what you're showing me there looks like to be the April version.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna stop. Okay, we're back. All right. So just to be clear, the AAPG now has an official position statement on climate change. And it was discussed a few days ago. It is not online yet, and we're gonna wait for it. Can you tell us in few words what is the gist of the statement?
I would rather not try to paraphrase it. I'd just soon everybody read it, and that way they could make their own decisions. And like I said, I just don't have a copy of it here in front of me. That wasn't something I was prepared to talk very much detail about, and so I didn't print a copy of it out. We did that and got everything done and approved. I will be truthful with you. We were working on this. The last DC under President Denise Cox worked on it. They came up with one that they approved. That's where the ad hoc committee was. We took it up this year, worked through a survey of the membership, got the statement pretty well worked up with what we saw from the membership survey. But since February, when we were talking about it at a February meeting, and getting everything on ready to be posted. Our whole world has been turned upside down from the coronavirus, and just trying to make sure that we don't get caught just letting money get away from not paying attention to the events we have out there. There's been a lot of events canceled, and that has really taken the EC's time. And I will tell you right now, with a lot of the geological organizations, that what's happening right now is really going to be taxing on them.
Mike, do you remember if the statement supports the Paris Agreement?
I do not. Let's let people read it and answer it. I'm not going to go in and start talking about it at this point. Members need to read it, and people need to read it and see what's there.
Okay.
The good thing about this, the U.S. is one of the few places that actually met its Paris Accord, and they're not even part of the agreement.
So you are implying that AAPG is not part of the agreement?
No. I didn't say that. Well, we're not. I mean,
no, it's not part. I mean, if it support the agreement to reduce the increase of global temperature.
Yeah, you have to read it. We've got things in there. We've got language in there, and I'll let you all read it.
Okay, so it's not so clear as to say, yes, AAPG agrees with Paris Agreement. It's more complicated than that.
I'm going to let you read it, and I'm not going to say that. When you read it, you'll understand it and what we're talking about.
Okay. And then you were mentioning before that the AAPG is engaged in the energy transition. And so we were mentioning about the new generation that would like AAPG to embrace this energy transition, as well as the reduction in the CO2. So aren't you worried of not serving these members?
The members that think we should transition?
Yeah, and that they are really worried about the climate change topic, and that they would like AAPG to fully embrace the Paris Agreement.
Well, that's fine. I mean, you got to realize that AAPG is a big organization. We got roughly, I think, 30,000 members total when you count the students and stuff like that in there. We have a wide sector, and you got to remember one of the purposes of AAPG, is to promote the sciences as it pertains to petroleum, natural gas, and other subsurface fluids. So when we look at that, we can talk about the Paris Accord and stuff like that, but the bottom line is that a lot of our people work in the oil and gas industry, and we have membership there that we have to, we can't go in and take one side to the other. We can't go in and take all of our members that said, no, we don't believe in climate change at all. We think that there's other problems out there that are more important, and we can't go and take the other side and say we've got to be totally restrictive. We as a leadership have to make a balanced approach to what's going on that benefits all of our members, not just the far right or the far left, but the overall membership we have. And that's what we tried to do with this approach. And I will tell you, I mean, it's one of those things that we are embracing the transition. Now, you can put things out there like you're going to abide by this code or this agreement or that agreement, but AAPG in its capacity that we're going in at this point and we're looking at transitions, and we're doing CCUS and other things like that to embrace those things and help with the transition and trying to do that. So from that standpoint, we're doing what we can, but keep in mind, we're a petroleum organization, and the vast majority of our memberships make their livelihood in the petroleum organization. And so we have to kind of embrace that. And I shouldn't say embrace it, but we have to go in and realize that fact as we make policies that affect our membership.
And I'm going to turn on my video. I think that you don't see me anymore, right?
Right. Yeah, you just got a picture there.
Sorry. It says that my video has been disabled because I start screen sharing. So let's see if I can stop sharing. Oh, I was still sharing. Okay. Now let's see. Can you see me now?
Nope. No. Yeah, now I can.
All right. So, so are there members in the AAPG that they deny the climate change?
Well, I can't point and say there's members that deny it out there, but I mean, we know there's a lot of things. that are happening out there. And you know, we've got people all over the country that have different opinions on this thing. And from our standpoint as a leadership, we have to respect the opinions of our membership, look to the science as best we can, and come up with a policy that fits what we see out there. And there's a lot of difference. And I'll tell you what, we deal with a lot of models in our business, and we do a lot of reserve models and stuff like that. And models, like they say, are as good as what goes into them. So there's a lot of issues out there, and like I said, I don't think you're going to find anybody within AAPG that disagrees with the overall context that man has a footprint. It's just, what is that footprint and to what effect? We definitely know that there's been a big natural deal towards global climate change. And we know it's happened throughout history, the geological history. At one time, the Earth was an ice ball. It was totally froze over. Back in the 70s, everybody said we were going into an ice age. And that was a big deal there. If you remember, Time and everybody ran articles that all the science said we were going into an ice age. So there's a lot of things out there we don't fully understand. And we go in as a group, we rely on peer-reviewed science. And that's what we were trying to do with the ad hoc committee, was look at peer-reviewed science and see what's out there. I don't care what the media says. I don't care what the talking heads say. I want to see the peer-reviewed science. And there's a lot of it out there. And
but the peer-reviewed science says that it is crystal clear, the relationship, right? What is the debate? So what is the...
Well, let me ask you this, just plain straightforward. 20,000 years ago, the glaciers started retreating, and they've been retreating ever since. Man didn't cause that. So when you go in and look at these models, people go in and look at the last 1,000 years. Well, things have been happening for 20,000 years to 1,000,000 years. And so the models aren't taking that in because we can't model that. So if you look at any sea level curve out there, there was a dramatic rise in sea level for about the first 10 to 15,000 years since we came out of glaciation. You look at CO2 curves, there's a lot of things we don't understand about those things. And I constantly try to read on it, and I don't have the answers. But I know a lot of the stuff that's put out there that's said to be peer reviewed is not peer reviewed. It's articles being put out by people that aren't in the geological realm. But there's a lot of it that is. And I go out as a person that wants to know the answers. I go out and read as much information as I can. I don't have the answer, and I'm not for sure a lot of people do. As an officer of the Arctic Association, we're trying to melt those things together. Climate change is a big topic. And we're seeing the same thing occur with the coronavirus. We're seeing models that were run where they were talking about 1 million deaths, 2 million deaths. And I don't think anybody believes that's going to happen. But we run models with the best data we have, and we make conclusions, and then we draw references from that. But, you know.
So, Mike, when you... But I read the annual report, what the ad hoc committee proposed.
That ad hoc committee was not charged with coming up with a statement. They were charged in bringing peer-reviewed data forward, and they did not do what they were charged with.
What do you disagree with those quotes? What is that you disagree with?
Well, I'm not going to get into breaking it down. I mean, I'm not one to get into a climate debate because my opinions don't matter what I think on the climate.
Well, I mean the association, because this is important, because the members, and especially the young generation, they're really interested in which kind of association they are going to belong. So this is a very important topic that the members or the non-members, they would like to know. So the quote is like pretty simple and short. Yeah. So I would like to know if there is something that you disagree with. It says the AAPG recognizes the abundant and compelling evidence that human activities are a key factor in current climate change, as referenced in the collective authoritative statements of the Global National Academics of Science and the comprehensive analysis on climate science as presented by the IPCC.
On that deal there, that was not a sanctioned deal. I'm an officer of the association. We came up with a statement. People can read it online and see what's there. The problem with that statement, if you want to look at problems, that was like 7, 8 members out of 14,000 voting members. So I can
Okay.
get you 7 or 8 members that would say exactly the opposite of that. And whether they're right or wrong, and we can debate whether they're right or wrong. That's why we came up with a statement. We put it out. Our members will debate that statement. They will make comments. That statement may get worked over down the road more, but it'll be put in front of the members. It doesn't matter what Mike Party says at this point. It's what our members think, and we're putting it out to our members to do it. We don't go in and we do not let people in a democracy let 10 or 20 people in a democracy dictate the democracy or dictate the organization. We got to go in and work through it, and that's what we're trying to do.
But don't you think that the leadership should show the way? We shouldn't vote on important issues like this one democratically. It's not that 51% of the voting members they have the final say. It should be the leadership that shows what are the implications of statements that are so important.
Yeah, you might want to look up what the definition of a dictator is in the dictionary, because that's where you're headed with that. When you have leadership that goes against the will of the people that they're representing, and that's a dictatorship. And we look at things differently and I personally do. I mean, I look at things differently that like I say, we're going to put it out. Our members will look at it, and we'll make some adjustments to it. It's one of those things, everything happens in steps. And so, that's where we're at. The statement's out there. Everybody can read it. Everybody that's a member of AAPG or other people can make comments on it. And the membership going forward is going to take that into account.
Mike, yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, let's move on to another topic, because we could talk about global warming forever, and I don't have the answers.
My point was trying to be clear about what is the position of the association, not really talking about the climate change, but just deciding a clear statement so that the members or the non-members, they can understand which kind of association is AAPG.
That will be posted out there, and we definitely welcome comments and feedback and stuff on it, because we're looking to our membership. We look to our membership for guidance all the time, and go from there.